What's up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from the Dyslexic Investor, making sure everything's okay. My microphone just, the red light just went blank on it, which was weird right when I went on. A lot of stocks are popping off right now. Getting a lot of alerts here. You're getting crushed on Microsoft. Kelly D, I had a teleconference for us today. Nice. We need a short setup. I'm not really a good short seller there, Mr. Bear. I do very. You have to be. Timing is very key with short selling. I don't do well with timing a lot of the times. That's why usually my trades last just a little bit longer to kind of give myself that slight advantage. Let's see here. Let's see here. Everyone's doing well. Hopefully loud and clear. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Kelly D. Yeah, we'll see on how again, we talked about bringing your snacks and everything. I literally had some chips and guacamole like 10 minutes ago, and then I looked down and they're gone. I ate them before this, and it's probably a good idea I ate them before the stream started because you don't want to hear me crunching and slobbering about stocks and then spitting guacamole all over my screen and hearing crunching without a doubt. Oh, Fish, you got that that wonderful call on Cat. Awesome. Did it hit 150? Or did it just go up in value? Because if it hit 150, that's fantastic. Oh, it's like it's still 138, but it's above that 78.6 percentile move, so that's a pretty good signal there. All right, so let's go ahead and get this started here. So if you haven't, if you just woken up from a slumber in the last 2 or 3 weeks, we've been really tight trading range here. Let's go ahead and you should see my screen now. There you go. So if you just woken up from a slumber and you're just rolling out of bed and you're like, WTF, what's going on in the markets? And we've literally just been in this trading range. We're looking here at SPY just to be completely clarify that. We kind of been trading sideways inside this box. I honestly thought that we were going to have enough momentum yesterday to kind of break above and close above that basically 323 level, but we didn't. And it kind of just, what did it hit? Like, it hit, what is this? That didn't say, no. What does this say? Let me do, hold on. The high of this bar, it did hit 223.04, but it literally was up there for probably 1/100th of a second, even 1,000th of a second, without to really trigger my potential alert there. But actually, no, sorry, I think it did, but it didn't close above it. That's what we really needed to see. And now we're just kind of coming down here. Nothing crazy. We're getting a little bit of selling in some key sections. Potentially, this could be just an overall rotation of seeing that we're going to be performing better and so forth for the ongoing coming weeks due to the lower number of cases in some states, but then overall seeing a lot of economic data performing very well, even though some key states in Florida, Texas, California are seeing a pretty uptick. Hold on a second, I'm just making sure everyone's here loud and clear. There we go. Let's see. Okay, just making sure that I'm giving you a lot of notifications here on my side on the trading here. It's been really kind of quite a movement here in the market again. Sorry. So the S&P 500 kind of just been trading sideways, and to be fully disclosed, the overall options, see this little red line here? It's saying 7/17/20. That is the monthly expiration. So we have monthly expiration coming out this Friday, which is again another key level for particular, just kind of just just grinding and just kind of maybe holding this pattern. And just having some of those market makers really just wring this wash rag out and just getting us, letting us just kind of consolidate this level and potentially see the next leg higher come in Monday or Tuesday of next week, or kind of more of a follow-through week coming into the following week after this. So Monday, Tuesday, we could see some pretty high activity on if you're a bull or a bear. But if you're more of a bear here, you really want to see this start failing below the 317, 315 level and continue trending lower to the 313 and start breaking the key level around 310, and then start really to scare everyone and make everyone jump and sell everything. Is going to start coming down to like the 300 level on SPY. Carlos, I was going to buy 550 of tomorrow's Netflix. What do you think? You're buying the call or you're buying 550 shares? I'm guessing you're going to say call. We can look at Netflix. That's, of course, the one huge one that's going to be reporting after the bell today, which is going to be on a lot of people's minds as being one of the very first, very work-from-home tech companies to be reporting, so we're going to see how their numbers come out. Again, with earnings, you never know what's going to happen. It's a complete crapshoot. It's like going to the slots, pulling that lever, in the sense of whatever comes out, it could be good, bad, or ugly. It can be really ugly in the sense of if both the Wall Street folks and analysts and then the executive team just don't get along, and it's just completely two different stories, and it can really just go the completely other direction. So we'll see on that. So Netflix, you're saying 550. So we can look at, let's go here. What is this? Okay, there we go. So you're doing this one expiring tomorrow, 550. That's a little, I can see that. But for me, Carlos, I can't buy calls. So something I would do, again, I'm a little bit somewhat different on my sense of what I trade in that sense. I would rather just kind of sell some puts if I was more of a bear or a bull on it. If I was more bearish, I would sell some calls because, again, things could just really rip through. Even though they can have a fantastic move, everything can look right, but the stock doesn't move anywhere, and literally those 550 calls lose all their implied volatility premium, and they can just be literally just gutted. So the way I look at it, there's basically three ways to make money with options. If it goes up, down, or sideways. I like to be in the camp of it, of at least having two of those three. And the way to do that is if you're selling calls or selling puts, and you basically can, let's say, for example, if I wanted to sell the 4 or 500 put, so the stock just has to do, all it's got to do is stay above 500. That being said, if I sell it, the stock just has to stay above 500, and it can go all the way up to 1,000. Yes, I won't get all that profit if I bought the call, but if I sell this put, the probability of profit is higher for me. But it also the gains from it is not as high as a lot of people suspect. It just kind of just depends on what kind of camp you want to be in. If you just want to, I wouldn't say the word YOLO because you're not buying like the $600 call for that's expiring tomorrow, because again the move is implied as $50 and we're currently at 530, so that market move, again, those market moves is going to be pretty enormous if things can get very volatile. But again, plus or minus $50, the implied volatility doesn't mean it has to move $50. That's just what the market makers are setting the premiums at. So I would rather just kind of go $50 away from here and just sell some puts, or potentially do an iron condor and sell calls. But lack of better words, I'm somewhat bullish on Netflix longer term, but on this earnings, again, it can be a complete crapshoot. So, that being said, and why did it just log me out of my... That's weird. Yeah, Netflix is really jumping around now. It's starting to get a little bit of a move here. We can kind of dive down to like a 4-hour chart here to kind of give us a better perspective here. So again, we kind of broke this, kind of just some trading sideways here for a little bit, hitting some really long candles here, but we've had a nice recovery overall this day. Like, if you looked at Amazon today, holy moly. So I literally made a video earlier today about Amazon, and it wasn't looking pretty, guys. And I was saying that there was some folks buying some really interesting, some debit spreads that are expiring next week and the week before that. I think it was the 24th. So next week, next Fridays, due to the fact of, again, playing the earnings for them for that upside. So with Amazon, we are seeing that switch here from the red to yellow on the 4-hour chart. The only thing is that we have some overhead resistance at 30.54. So that's going to be some overhead resistance in the short term. So we're going to do that here. And basically, it kind of needs to, you can somewhat see it, that this downward trend here. And it's just kind of showing the sense of maybe not having the fulfillment of being able to break this trend upward. So it's showing a really good pattern. I really just want it to kind of build a base potentially for the next couple of days, and if it pulls it back higher, I'm a little bit fearful that it could just kind of come back down and be a little spooked if it just moves too fast. We'll see what happens, but looking forth to see Amazon trade higher, because again, if we just look at this at let's just do a 15-minute chart, it had a pretty strong reversal today. Like, it literally came out of the gates around 2900, 2977, and then came all the way down to, what is that, 2918, then made a pretty large rally from basically this low into this high, basically going up about 100 some odd points, about 4% nearly, in Amazon, and just made a really strong push. It was pretty interesting to see this pretty large climb up today. And again, with the whole rotation of a lot of tech investors and different things, or tech stocks getting kind of flushed around, we'll see what happens. Hey, what's up, man? Thanks for joining. Makeshift, there's rumors about Texas is potentially locking down. Oh, really? Like, I know, did you guys see that Walmart is going to be requiring masks, I believe? I don't know if it's 100% official. They're going to be having people coming into Walmart wear masks. I know Costco's been doing it for months already. So Amazon, I like to draw my magical enchanted lines. I'm really just wanting it to hold this 21 and slowly grind higher to potentially see on what happens for earnings. So we'll see on how that one plays out. What else is moving today? I did post it. I think I posted it in the Discord. We did Lowe's. If it loads, we kind of said that, whoa, like, it literally hit the 144.76 level, or sorry, let's call it 145, and that's basically the 127 percentile move from the previous swing high to low, which is a pretty key term to see that kind of failed there. It just didn't have the proper movement or the strength to kind of bust it through that, because again, we did have a 2-day squeeze, but that wasn't enough to kind of give it the momentum and brute force to kind of break through that ceiling. That being said, this doesn't mean it's going to come down and fail and go all the way down the 200-day. This is more or less like, hey, I just don't feel comfortable in the water right now. Let me come back in a couple days or a couple hours and see if the water is better, and then I'll try to touch it again with my tippy toes. Yeah, I think Netflix for me is going to be a crapshoot. If I do decide to get what I want to get, I might play it with very small size. And what I will be doing is selling some really far out of puts and just kind of collecting some of that premium. Makeshift, can we do Moderna? Is that mRNA? Man, I'm good. I pulled that one. Yeah, this one we talked about before, right? Makeshift quite a few times. Really, with this in the squeeze pattern, we talked about it was really holding that 50-day fairly well. Once we saw that squeeze getting towards the tail end with the 5 and 8 start crossing through the 21 was a great sign for potential entry. Again, I didn't trade this. I know some folks did, and really just took off from basically 62 all the way to 88. Really just ramping up again due to their overall case for having a really high antibodies in their I think it's not even phase 1, right? Is it phase 1 clinical trials for the virus? And it's basically kind of petered out at the previous high, or hit a new high, but it kind of petered out from the previous high there around the 88, 30, 35, 37 level. Now kind of coming back down. Not saying it's got to come crashing down, but it could just bounce around here a little bit until the next large headwind kind of comes out. Because usually with these pharmaceutical companies, it kind of just makes a huge run, and sometimes it will come back down to a little bit, maybe come back down to the 70 or 78 level to see how things are going. And it could just kind of trade sideways, just maybe build a base for a couple days or weeks, and then just have a huge next run up from that move. If everything is still showing very positive on the sense of they're testing the different trials they're going through and things like that, if there's not any serious side effects once they do human trials and things like that. Yeah, we saw that's the one I added to my list. You talked about it last time. Yeah, nice movement today. For me, like it really held that 21 here very well. Again, didn't really get an opportunity to get into it because I believe that you came out with this one. Was that Monday I did a live stream? So I could have got it maybe in on Monday, but I didn't. That's when I kind of came on my radar. You have some strong hands. Yeah, because it held that 21 very well on Monday. And unless it opened up and gapped down, the 34 was going to come in for your next level support. But now this has just been really ripping higher. Looking for some overhead resistance around 1388. That's where the parabolic SAR is. If it needs some momentum, the volume and RSI is looking strong and momentum's looking good. We really just need literally physical shares and volume coming in here to really push us above that $14 level. Kelly D, what are your thoughts on DraftKings? I'm long around 37, selling 40. You can calls. Yeah, this is one of my worst trades this year, honestly. It's been a complete downer for me. We had an issue just with my fat hands of not hitting that confirm and send. Thought I got out of it. I didn't. Woke up the next morning and I was like, why am I down a couple $100 on a stock that I thought I got rid of? But anyways, we basically cut it once we saw this more downward movement. Again, this is going to be ensued to the overall better news of the vaccine coming out. And again, some people, I don't know anything about the pharmaceutical companies, but what I read is saying that they have to create even though they can get the vaccine tested and all the trials go through, they still have to produce it, and that could say quite a bit for the next coming months, and even they say 18 months-ish to get all the proper things checked, creating the vaccine and start distributing it. If sports are going to come back, I think sports are going to come back without a doubt. I do like DraftKings today with that parabolic SAR switching to the downside, kind of solidating this low at 27.47 for the short term and looking for a nice little push higher. With the momentum really kicking on here, I kind of want to take this down to a 4-hour chart and kind of see what's happening here. Again, having a lot of momentum in today, kind of breaking this overall like crappy pattern that we've been in this box here. and now kind of breaking out towards the top end of it, which is great. So if we close above 35, it's kind of really just really creating this potential candidate to be a very strong going forth. But we'll see what goes on with that one. Again, I'm not gonna. I got some emotional damage on that one, so it's going to be a little bit further from my memory bank. Any ideas on AMD? Ugh, I know AMD is. It's still in the box. It's in the box. It's in the box. It's really trying to push higher. It's building some more consolidated bases here around the 21. The moving averages look fairly nicely stacked. It could potentially try to kick higher. Again, we needed to close above that $58 level to see some higher prices. And if you're in a bear on this situation, you need to see it below 50. With this really being said, we've really been just put this record on repeat since basically the beginning of April, really just trading in this range here. And this is what an iron condor would have been perfect for this, right? Just sell the 58 and then sell the 50 down here and just collect that premium throughout these multiple just trading in the box. But that being said, I really, for AMD, I want you to look at looking for on the weekly side. So we've kind of seen this pattern before here with this kind of just consolidating with this really strong squeeze movements here. We've really seen this really tight consolidation, this rubber banding that we call, and then it usually considers a large pop higher. The squeezes have all really fired higher besides this one. This one was kind of a dud. But the last two have been very strong squeezes to the upside if we were trading above the 21. And that's on this, again, this is on a weekly side. Be mindful of that. This is on a weekly side, looking for that consolidation here. That trend on the 21 on the weekly side is still going up, Kyle. So that for AMD, I'm longer term in AMD, so I'm not sure what you do for or what you have for AMD, but for AMD, I'm longer term in this, and I'm just kind of riding up the 21. So each time it would come down to the 50 or the 21 exponential moving average on the weekly, it's around $50. So I'll just add a little bit more, but it hasn't broken this box yet. So once it starts breaking the box, that's when I have to get out. What would your advice be for a trader who had lost multiple trades in the past few weeks? Mr. Bear was pretty good on it. It's just trade smaller. So if you're trading, if you're losing, if you have your guidelines in place of like, okay, I have to cut my loss once it goes past 10%, or if you're trading stock, I usually keep it between 5 or 7%. You cut it. If it's trading options, it's a little bit more difficult. You really have to be normally. I try to do about 25%, but with a lot of options and the volatility that we've had, it's been very difficult to really hold myself accountable to that as well. With that, again, if you're losing multiple trades, it happens. Like the biggest thing and the biggest thing to consider, honestly, is that what you're trying to do here is you're not trying to hit a home run every day. You're not trying to hit a home run every week. You're just trying to churn and really build your portfolio, your account up. So you want to do things that are very consistent. Some people call it boring, but you just want it to be very picky and basically, lack of a better words, run your trading like you would run a company, in the sense of like holding yourself accountable, not doing YOLO calls or anything like that where it just could really jeopardize your longevity of your trading account. Because I've been there. I have blown up accounts, and it's not fun. And the trader's depression is real. I promise you that. And it's really hard to get back on that horse sometimes. And I understand that. If you need someone to talk to, just join in the Discord and we'll have a chit chat to keep you positive and keep you running. Just make sure you just trade smaller and just maybe even take a break, honestly, and start doing some trades that are a little bit more consistent. Just selling premium, like again, Mr. Bear said. Chan, what do you think about TSM? Like we had that one. Whew. So we bought these options. When did we buy that? We bought them over here. We bought a $50 calls. It ran up all the way up to 57. I said, "Oh, thank you very much. I'll take that money." And then it just really created another base here, and it just completely blew up. And another huge, again, this is all about the overall industry of the new semiconductors. Of like literally, semiconductors are literally in everything, and this is a new cycle for them in the sense of this is really just compounding and just going substantially higher. Can I buy it up here? It's going to be very difficult. I really liked it down here around $50. Again, it was close to $200 exponential moving average. It was in a squeeze. It was really in the middle rung of the RSI. As of right now, it's a little bit highly elevated for where I would like to get into, but it's still a strong candidate. Again, we did have a large run up here. So again, this thing kind of has, you can see these stair moves that it's had. It literally kind of just, besides this going down here for the virus and pandemic, but it literally consolidates, runs up, consolidates, and runs up. And you can even see that here in the past, it kind of runs up, consolidates, runs up, consolidates, runs up, then, of course, the virus hit. But this is kind of, we're looking for the potentially to kind of have this trade sideways because earnings that just came out, there aren't any more large surprises. There aren't any potential catalysts there for this to move anymore. Again, other things can move forward when we start seeing from AMD and Nvidia reporting and things like that. That can be large catalysts as well. But in the lack of a better words, this thing, I think it can just kind of trade sideways between probably like 68 and potentially to 64, 65 for the next coming days. I heard that if your options hit 75%, you're better selling. So yeah, that's another thing too. A lot of I still work with this today is letting my winners run. Like again, talking about TSM, I should have let it run. There was no sign for it to fail. Like it didn't even touch the 21. It was just consolidating. But I just saw that nice huge profit intake, and I said I'll take it. How many accounts do I have? I have about 4 accounts. Really 3 accounts. 5 accounts if you count my Robinhood, but there's nothing really in there. I have I have 3 accounts in Tastyworks. One is like a long-term account that I have stocks in really. Then I have my trading account, which you'll see a lot of my options trade that I talk about in that. And then I have a longer or short, it's more like a mix between options, like my longer leaps, because I'm very simple in the sense of like how I need things to work out for me. If my long-term stock was in the same account with my other accounts, and I just saw that with the large profit that I have in some stocks, I just would need to sell out of it. I usually don't check that. Maybe on like a couple days or even a weekly basis to see what they're doing. Of course, I have alerts out for them, but it's hard. I really consolidate things. Yeah, I'm really sorry that you had to go through that, but I think that it'll be, again, I'm glad you were looking at it as a learning experience. That it's difficult. Like there's no way for me to teach, express, or show people how it feels to blow up an account, or have a large down drag, and then you just feel completely useless. All I can say is it's basically like a badge of honor. of like that traders and investors have gone through of like, unless you haven't done it, you just don't know the feeling. What do you think about Facebook? So Facebook, kind of think I highlighted this for the Patreon folks the other day. So it hit that 127 percentile move from the previous high to low on the Fibonacci retracements, and now it's kind of just stuck. That's basically the next overhead resistance. The potential trying to break out. So it's your ceiling of resistance, or just the potential where it needs to break through. I think again with the tech sell-off and the switch and rotation of things, have we seen, or this is going to go down lower? I don't know. Like with the whole Twitter being hacked, and I think they literally got hacked. From what I understand, it is they somehow got a backdoor via an API or something, and they were able to log in just as a normal user, even if the user had two-factor authentication. It's difficult. So even with that being said, I don't think that's dragged down Facebook at all. But Facebook has their own issues with ads and just overall people just hating them and people just leaving at a boatload of time. We'll see what happens. But with Facebook, we're really seeing that 250 being the next line in the sand to try to break above. The trend still intact. The momentum's there. Volume is slightly coming off again. We do have earnings on the horizon as well on the 29th, so towards the end of the month, so about 2 weeks out. A lot of these are just kind of looking for trading sideways. This can easily trade sideways between like the 235 to like the 250 and kind of trade sideways into earnings, unless we have some blowout quarters from Amazon next week, Netflix and things like that that could move the overall cohort higher. But I just joined. Can you cover SPY if you haven't already? Yeah, we can cover SPY. We can look at SPY real fast, since there's of course going to be some movement again. Just turned 3 o'clock, so we're in the last hour of trading for this day. Netflix is kind of selling off just a little bit. It was up $9. Now it's only up 3. Coming back here to SPY. I think so. We do have monthly expiration tomorrow, so this is going to be usually around those time frames. You would kind of see some kind of a grinding and sometimes just like churning, lack of a better words, into that monthly expiration. There's usually nothing like flying higher or going whatsoever. Like you can kind of see here. You can barely see it here. This is that red vertical line here is the monthly expiration for SPY. And that's usually what we just kind of churn into. You saw what happened last time. We kind of just tightly consolidated around that. The time before that, we really had tightly consolidation for 3 or 4 days because we had sold off beginning of the week, and now really tight consolidation there. Same here as well, a little bit there. Now we're going back into like the lows here, which is not really relevant. But normally, the move into the end of the month has been very tight and has just been very stagnant that week prior to closing out the books, as they may say, for those monthly expirations. Let's see. Thank you, Ray, for giving good advice. I appreciate that. Alex, SPY dipping. Yeah, I won't say dipping. Like it's gonna be like, again, like it's 3 o'clock, so that's what it's gonna mean. It's gonna be so between 3 and 4. There is literally no other equity market open on this earth. We're the only one open in the United States from 3 to 4. So there's gonna be a lot of directed calls. That's why it's very volatile, and usually you see large upticks in volume, of course, being the only market open. Someone from Twitter helped the hackers. Oh, That's the latest. Interesting. That would kind of make sense, right? That's how they got the back door. If you're one of the lead devs over there, I'm sure you know some things. How do you get the expirations to show up on the charts? I don't know, actually. I think I would have to Google that on how I do that. I think it is. That doesn't make sense. Show opening. No. Show the price. Maybe if you play with the option, that doesn't make sense. That the chart settings. Corporate action. The show CB video. Show. I don't know. I would have to play around with those options and let you know there, Kelly. Jay, yeah, we can look at Netflix again. Again, Netflix is going to be moving here. It was up $9. Now it's kind of just bouncing around here again still. Looking for, again, I want to be bullish on this, but you never know when it comes to earnings. It can be a complete coin flip. And just people just kind of spin it whatever way directions. This is going between that 5 and 8 exponential moving average, just been grinding higher here. We really held those parabolic SARs, really kind of came in to kind of let this trend continue going higher and really just push this stock slowly up. Again, with earnings coming out today, it's going to be a coin flip. What I'm be looking at is potentially selling like the 450 put if I do that. What are your buys for tomorrow? I don't have anything buying for tomorrow. I normally don't like to start a short-term trade on a Friday, but I can tell you what I bought. Did I buy anything today? Let me look. No, I haven't bought anything actually in a little bit. I bought some of that Logitech actually on Monday or Tuesday when we did that live stream, and that's been performing very well. You think it's gonna what's all? I'm not 100% sure if I'm gonna play Netflix earnings yet. We'll see. The 600 strike, 725 calls for next place. I'm scared. Ooh, you bought Jay. That's really far out there, man. You're really okay, baby. You're doing the 24th. So you gave yourself a little bit more time, aka 7 days. So the implied volatility is fairly high, but it's saying $70 from that current price. So $70 where we're currently at would give you that $600 price target, but that's if everything is on full throttle and it really just kills earnings on a good way. I think again, anything can happen. I'm not going to say yes or no. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. But with that being said, we could see 600. Yes, it's not too far. It's not too far off. It's way, but basically up here. It's gonna be harder for me to risk that because again, even though it can literally hit 575 and things like that, in that the applied volatility is going to be really sucked out of that premium in those options because of once the quarter's over, this implied volatility will drop. Again, we have 160, basically 170% in for the ones this week. Once the quarter comes out, this implied volatility would probably basically drop down to like half of that, even less. I agree too. Like I think they have to add a lot of subs, without a doubt. But again, that doesn't mean that they have to spend a lot. They're not able to make too much of new content as well, Jay. You have to think of that. Like, how are they able to produce movies as of right now, and new shows? If the last 3 months Hollywood, is lack of a better word, has been locked down. Ray, I love AMD. Twitter, I'm not sure about. I'm waiting for Twitter to kind of better monetize things. I think Netflix should be. I'm bullish as well, longer term, but with earnings, it's a coin flip for me. Jay, How does play look to you? I have the Jan 15 call for it to hit 30. Is play Dave and Buster's okay? You have the $30 call. When did you have that, Dad? The coolest dad ever. Thanks for joining, my friend. Appreciate you always showing up. $30 call. That's in January. That's got a ways out there. That's good. You got yourself time. So 183 days, $30 call. Some open interest on it. Looks interesting. Again, why is it down so much today? Like, did it? It doesn't look too great to me, honestly. Coolest dad ever. I'm trying to see on what you're seeing here on this play here. I know what you're trying to do with the sense of I saw it at 48 and why can't it just kind of go halfway up around 26 or even 30? I think you said. Again, anything is possible, but it's 182 days away. Can it really move that much when in that short period of time? I know it's 180 days, but that you're basically really betting on that the virus gets under control and everything kind of goes back to normal. I would be a little bit more comfortable, so maybe do the 20, but we'll see. Like, it's $30. It's a little too. If you're not risking much, if you just literally have one call, I think it's worth a bet, and just kind of a long shot, because if that starts climbing and starts getting in the money, that can really rack up pretty fast. But we'll see what happens, because again, this is, yeah, did you pay for like $1 for it or something like that? So it's a worthwhile bet, potentially, to see for a potential run up in. Again, things need to really come back to normal. Things need to really so as long as you know that you're really counting on the vaccine coming out, okay, because that's really going to be your play here, I think, within play for sure. You just have one call, okay, so I'm glad to hear that. I hope you put your whole savings into it, or you put your kids' college money into it. I think it's worth speculating on. So for me, I usually speculate maybe 10% of my overall account on different various plays like that. Jay, they have enough content until 2021. Okay. TikTok China daily. Okay. I hope Netflix crashes and burns so I can buy more on the dip. I kind of feel like that about Tesla. Like, honestly, like Tesla is really consolidating here. I really like this pattern, actually. I want to buy like the 1447 for a potential fly into earnings and getting out of it. I don't know if I can do that quite yet. I think it's a little bit too speculative for me to do that, because again, those calls, I would have to do like a call debit spread for that for a run into earnings, but it's still going to be fairly expensive on that end. If I can scroll all the way down here. Yeah. There's a lot of open interest around the 1560 there. A lot of volume coming in today, actually, too, on that. That's the interesting part. Got a lot of volume around 2000. Looks like a lot of sellers there. Interesting stuff there. Thanks, coolest dad. Appreciate it, man. You're very welcome. TikTok China. What are you saying? Nvidia calls YOLO. I don't know about that. Make sure this isn't Wall Street Bets. Speculating 10% is nothing like Wall Street Bets. That's speculating 150%. You're taking out credit cards to pay for that. So Nvidia had a nice little run. kind of sold off fairly hard with the overall tech movement down. We bought into this right around like the $400 price and kind of slightly rebounded a little bit, went lower the following day, and now just kind of trading sideways. This one doesn't have earnings for quite some time. I think it's in August. Yeah, it's quite. But again, this is going to move with the overall market as well. If all the other technology companies are doing well, this is really going to go up with it as well. This is going to be very interesting to see. I'm sorry, I'm just checking back on Netflix. Still up $3, so okay. With an Nvidia here, you're saying 450. 450, 487. So you're doing it before 87. So you're doing a run up into earnings. So you're saying 450 for the week before earnings. So it's saying plus or minus $40 where we're currently at. That's a little bit more of a stretch. I think if you're wanting to give yourself a little more time, I think that would make more sense. But again, with AMD, it's been really consolidating. That 21 has come in multiple times for ongoing support. I think we're kind of in a I wouldn't say a low, but more of a kind of just trading sideways, building a base to potentially try to kick higher. You start seeing the 5 and 8 start crossing into, and you start seeing ticks break below 21, and the ticks start breaking below like 375. That could be some potential further downside, so be mindful of that. Who would do a 10-for-1 split? Makeshift. Josh McDaniels, thanks for joining, my friend. Amazon 3,050 call spread for September 18th. What's Amazon doing? Like we talked about Amazon at the beginning. Like it was. Did you bring your unsalted peanuts? I told everyone that I had guacamole and some tortilla chips, and I literally ate them 5 minutes before the stream started. And I was kind of let them slowly be consumed over the next hour, 2 hours. I just ate them in 5 minutes because I'm a fat ass. Anyways, that being said, with an Amazon, really, we put that little magical line out there. So you're saying 3,050. Where that's like right here. Yeah, you're kind of buying that. I think that's a fairly well thought out bet. You're saying the 18th. But again, so you have to make sure that your earnings is coming out for, oh my god, I'm just scrolling for days here. 30, 50, and then you're selling $50 lower, the 100s. Yeah, it looks like a lot of other folks did that same trade because there's a lot of volume that came in today. A lot of open interest around the 3,100 call. Again, be mindful. This is, again, you're really betting on that Amazon will have a strong quarter. And I think Amazon's just a very well-run company, and they're going to do well. But again, with earnings on the horizon, you're giving yourself a lot of time into September to see that really play out. But earnings could be basically moving it up or down very drastically in the sense of it could be fantastic, but if Wall Street's like, hey, you're spending 17 trillion gazillion dollars on new Amazon trucks while you're doing that, or why are you buying all these drones or whatever, and it can come crashing down, and it's really would take a lot of that premium out of those options that you bought. And it's less likely for them to kind of recover from that. So just be mindful and be careful with that. And again, just trade very small size with those particular plays. Tech way overbought in my opinion. I think it was slightly, but now it's selling off a little bit, and I think people are really reevaluating things. Cam, you're buying the 535 calls, baby, expiring tomorrow. Yeah, let's go back to Netflix. Yeah, it's really just hovering around. I don't think it's going to do anything too drastic. We might see some movement the last 10 minutes into the close with some really high propulsions and things like that. But we're looking for to see what happens with earnings. If I'm going to play this, I'm probably going to sell like the 460 or the 450 puts if I'm going to be play it to the. I'm going to 99% of the time I'm always the longer on the bull side of things instead of the bear. But you just never know what can happen. I like to give myself a little bit of time, so and really kind of trade way off its lows to see on how it will perform, because anything can just get splattered in your face and things can get really ugly. So the 535s, yeah, you're basically, again, how much are those going for? But for about $2,100, $2,200. I switched to energy and banking. Well, I hope you know that energy and banking is being really hit really hard due to the lack of the economy going. Okay, sorry, the chat just updated on me again. Let's refresh this 1 second. Oh, you're 10 for 1. I think if Tesla did a 10 for 1 split makeshift, it would go crazy. So makeshift, I made a video in February, even before that I believe, that I said Tesla needs to do a split. And I think it would easily jump up so much, because again, a lot more people are going to be able to get into it. It's going to be more reasonable cost. TikTok China, yeah, I think that may be a good thing. We kind of held on by mistake DraftKings a little bit too long without our knowledge, and kind of burnt in it. Thoughts on DocU or Twilio? Yeah, Doc. Let's see what Doc's doing here. So Doc, huge run up here. Okay, enormous run up. Really holding that 5 and 8 really closely, hitting the 21 a couple times on the way up. Kind of hit that 217 price target here. Don't make me FOMO. Hey, if Tesla goes down, imagine Tesla if it hits 2,000, it does a 2 for 1 split. Like, how many people are going to be diving into that? And again, with the overall tech resurfacing and the overall reshuffling of the decks for a lot of portfolios, again, we don't know if it's because of the pandemic data, it's about the banking data, we don't know. It's just that people are reshuffling things and maybe getting out of these names, taking profits most likely, and kind of reevaluating what they want to give these price multiples. So we'll see what happens there. That being said, with the DocU, it hit that 21 again. The only thing that's a little bit concerning is that 5 and 8 are really tightly wound. Momentum has really drifted lower. The RSI is the lowest it's been in the last couple months, and the volume oscillator is nothing really to write home about as well. Looking to see this kind of consolidate here. I don't see any earnings on the horizon as well, so if it starts breaking below the 21, we could see a trend change, and really kind of this whole trend upwards could be kind of gone and done for, and just start trading sideways, potentially down to 170 if it breaks. To the upside, we really need to really start seeing these ticks back above the 5 and 8 and potentially test that 215 level. So we'll see what happens. Aaron, thank you for the midday stream. Thank you for coming, Aaron. Thoughts on Ford, dude? Brian, that new Ford Bronco is really nice looking. Honestly, like I had a couple. I wanted to buy I think it was a couple hundred shares of it around 620. But I just couldn't get it filled, and then it literally just took off from me. I think with Ford, I think they really have something there with that Bronco. I think people are going to really go lick their lips about it, in the sense of kind of like the same way the Jeep Wrangler folks kind of have their thing. I think these Bronco folks really have a thing as well, and you're going to see a lot of those on the road with those 3 different trim models. Oh, they're sexy, dude. With that being said, looking at the chart here, it's been sadly been, lack of a better word, it's been really beaten up here. Really kind of having a nice consolidation here, popping higher, really failing here at the $200 or 200 exponential moving average here, Brian. Can it hit $7 tomorrow? Maybe. I think it can. I think with the overall, I wonder, again, Brian, remember, they do have, they have a truck. They actually have the truck to display and for sale, and they don't have 3D renders, and they actually have a sustainable business model and a track record of delivering things on time. I think this is a pretty good recipe here. That the squeeze was indicating it wanted to fire higher. That has already happened. We're looking for this squeeze to really push this higher with a volume oscillator and the RSI continue going higher to see if it really can break that $7 limit. Can it hit $7 tomorrow? Maybe, but it needs to really get a lot of momentum because we have failed here at that 200 exponential moving average before. So this really needs to have that momentum to continue going higher, especially with it kind of dragging out before and kind of lackluster and kind of going back down. I think a lot of people got ahead of themselves here with the overall market. Yeah, but I think it's a very good move. I think if you're in it, you just kind of have to ride it out and see how it plays out. It's hard to get into right now because, again, it's literally almost at $7, and it hasn't hit that much of a range in some time. Potentially, if it comes back down, it has earnings on the horizon too, so it's basically end of the month. So this is going to be kind of a key play to kind of keep an eye out for here. Again, if you're a bull, you really need to see it break above this. A bear, you want to see this kind of fail and then kind of peter out. Basically, ongoing support around the 50-day here, around the $6. TikTok China plays on Walmart. Oh, I'm sorry, Dave, I missed your question. I'm sorry. Hey, Ken, BLMA fooled, did it, nice profit from 10, 17 over. What's BLMN? Oh, BLMN. So looking, what is the nice profit for the $10.717 call? It looks, when did we talk about this one? I remember we talked about it. I didn't know what it was, and then you said it was the Carrabba's and Bonefish Grill and stuff in Outback. This looks fairly good. It's really heavy. It really needs to break that $11 price target that we talked about. Those parabolic SCRs really holding it down. We do have a slight squeeze involved here. Volume oscillator really needs to start printing in the positive numbers. Same with RSI, needs to kind of get out of that little middle of the road kind of thing and go higher. But with earnings on the horizon, I don't know really much about the restaurant business. I did work in the restaurant business for a couple years way back when in high school and college. But I think that this is going to be difficult. This needs to really break above that $11 price target. Again, with earnings on the horizon, it could have a slight earnings run if the overall momentum through the weekend and the next week is positive and we're not seeing another large consolidation of lockdowns and going back in phases and things like that. So we got 30 minutes left. What's Netflix doing? Netflix around that $5 or $6 range. Okay. Walmart. Yeah, we can look at Walmart. So with Walmart, we're really we missed this move, sadly. We talked about it. We never got into it. We missed it. Popped up substantially higher. Hit that 618 from the previous high to low here on the Fibonacci retracements. really kind of broke above that 78.6 percentile move as well, and they continue grinding higher, feeling some overhead resistance on the previous high. Again, this could just be consolidating here, building a slight base, and then getting that another push higher since we can kind of break and close above. Basically 133 would be a great move, and then potentially the 137 could be the next price target moving forth there. To the downside, really it's going to come in support here initially at the first line at 130, then it's going to come around 126, and then really strong line around 125 for Walmart. Yeah, Home Depot, we talked about Lowe's. They've all those retailers, like that retail data came back and it was fairly strong, signaling that a lot of these stores are doing very well. Again, we talked about Lowe's and Home Depot most of the time every stream, in the sense of if everyone's staying home, they're going to be doing home improvements. They're going to be planting tomato plants. They're going to be repainting the house, all whatever, XYZ, hanging new curtains, whatever. That's basically what we did in our house. It really just trading between that the 5 and 8 exponential moving average, seeing the 34, 21, 5 and 8 getting really tightly wound, with the squeeze indicating, with the volume kind of being chopping around here, and the RSI was potentially for a squeeze higher. Really went from that like 250 all the way up to 261 and kind of just traded sideways. With this one, it's basically hit an all-time high of yesterday, so we're kind of in, I wouldn't say uncharted territory, but we can do from the previous swing high to the low for the short term, looking for the next price target. If this can continue to hold and the 5 and 8 and the parabolic SAR can continue driving it higher, we're going to be looking for around the 264 level for the next high in the next overhead support, resistance. Sullivan. Oh, we talked about the day before yesterday. Okay. BA, yes, BA. So BA, it's just trucking. It's literally, it's a truck that has its snow tires on with some chains, and it's just grinding up this snow hill here. And it's just trucking along. It's not taking anything. The squeeze is indicating for a potential move higher with these really tight volume oscillators and everything here. It's really in this really tight, almost like we're lighting TNT and waiting to see which way it blows. Again, with this light here in place, we're hoping it blows higher to kind of break above that 208 level. But that being said, I think with the overall economy and other things that are coming out, is that it's going to be doing, we're going to see what happens here. And just potentially getting that move higher. Basically, my first line in the sand to kind of break higher is that 194 level there. I'll get some water. Thoughts on car? Is that Avis? Yeah. So rested RIP Hertz, right? So with car, this really just was the complete opposite what Hertz did. A little bit more well managed, better run. We've seen that previous kind of fail here at the 618 percentile move from the previous high to low. That was at 35. We're kind of just trading around that 50-day, 50 percentile move here from the previous high to low. Everything is looking fairly strong here. We do have earnings on the horizon on the moving averages. Looking for continuing holding the $30 at least for a push to 35. Again, with earnings on the horizon, that could be a complete coin flip, so I wouldn't be going in full position before earnings. But it looks like there is a lot of support around the $25 level if it comes down to that before earnings, to maybe add or start a small position there. Thoughts on work? Work. This has just been after its quarter, it's just literally been in a trading range here as well. You can literally see it here. I can just draw that little purgatory box here. It's just been trading between like basically $35 and $30 and just trading up and around. Again, no earnings on the horizon as well. Look, there is some squeeze indicating here, but RSI and the volume oscillator has gotten really low. But again, I think this is due to just the overall people just getting out of this area. But if it starts breaking below $30, then I'm concerned it could hit the 29, even go lower. But volume has been so low in this stock after the last quarter, and then it's a run up into the quarter. I think people kind of just lost faith in it, and people are just literally just rather look at Microsoft. Josh, can we look at Apple? Yeah, we can look at Apple. So Apple, it's still holding this. I know there's a lot of lines on here. Let me get rid of these lines. So it's been really holding that 5 and 8 exponential moving average, just continue to grind higher and get a lot of that momentum still going with the parabolic SAR still below. A lot of the tech stocks really can't say they have had that. Again, that trade is still intact with earnings on the horizon to try to break that $400 level. I can't say when, but I think it could easily grind up here to like the $400 level and maybe get enough to break through it. Before earnings, I'm not sure. It's really the other candidates need to come out and really just push it. So Netflix has a great earnings, and then if we have Amazon and other companies really propel this higher, it's going to kind of just go with the wake of that. Thoughts on BOXL? Nothing to say here. That's a penny stock, and something that they came out with some kind of earnings here or something. They announced something and it's been great, and I don't know why. And I don't know because before that it was just trending lower and it just now just took off. So I'm not sure what that is, Tyler. Could you break it down maybe in a sentence or something? If you can tell me what that is. But I normally don't trade. This had no volume, and now this is more like a FOMO trade for a lot of folks. Why are people saying the market's going to crash tomorrow? I don't know how they know that. It's difficult to know that. I don't know how they know that. I think just people are maybe just wanting lower prices in stocks so they can add up to them, or they're just a bunch of negative Nancys. I don't know why people could say that. Chang, what do you think of RGA? Okay, so this is insurance. What does it say this? Reinsurance. So this one has been really just beaten up. It looks like it has kind of got that resurgence of a lot of those other insurance companies actually making a lot of money because there's no one really doing anything. And it's now just kind of moving just higher here with the overall market. With the overall catalyst of the overall market just pushing it higher. The parabolic SAR has switched. It's starting to close above the 21. If you see that 5 and 8 cross to the 21, you can potentially see some higher prices. Want to give you a little Fibonacci retracement here real fast. It's not going to hit any key sections. So the 50 percentile move, so the 200-day here is going to be a lot of overhead ceiling for you. In the short term, you really need to start breaking and closing above 82. To get above 82, potentially start building a base. You do have earnings on the horizon. If that can go positive, you get that nice little run up to $100 and start building a base there. Start climbing your way back from where it was previously before the overall pandemic. Because you're seeing here at the 50 percentile move from the previous high to low, which is around 112. We've seen it touch basically 2 times and just kind of failed, and then you kind of had this touch 2 times and failed. So this could signal that we could touch this 2 times and fail. I'm not sure. I just don't feel too comfortable honestly trading or owning this stock. Hey Bob, well, thanks for joining, man. I just like to take yeah, UPS. UPS, okay. They have earnings. So didn't FedEx come out and they had pretty good earnings there, Bob? Again, this is usually we'll see what happens. It'd be good. I don't know FedEx logo on it, or ticker off the top of my head. So with this one, I broke below the 618. That's great. The 78.6 percentile move as well. It had a little bit of little issues, but now it's kind of breaking higher. I like to see that continue to trade higher, potentially consolidate here around the $116, $115 level into earnings. But with the overall market really just pushing higher, I think this could easily climb with good earnings and everything else being said going great. This could easily hit up to its previous high to 125. So just make sure you give yourself plenty of times and be mindful of earnings coming out there, Bob. Samuel BXOL will keep moving up. I'm in. But what kind of company is it there, Samuel? TikTok China, thoughts on KSS? Is that Kohl's? I think they're just getting a boost today again due to that economic data with all those retail stores performing better and actually people buying things and maybe not as bad as people thought normally what the human emotion says. I just think this is a little bit it's out of my wheelhouse. I don't do a lot of shopping, so I don't really have an understanding of how things work, and my shopping is literally online. So with Kohl's here on the stock chart here, the parabolic SAR has switched, so basically your new support is going to be around $19 to the downside. The momentum is good, volume is somewhat flat, volume oscillator is trying to go positive, and RSI is just kind of middle of the road here. Again, it's trying to continue grinding higher, but I think this will be a slow grind. Potentially you start seeing these 5 and 8 breaking above the 21, could potentially start moving this higher slightly. So this one's going to be a difficult one for me to touch or trade, but this one looks like it wants to continue going higher. I am not getting my Netflix fill, whatever. And make sure got the 320 SPY calls on the dip. They're popping, worth keeping for tomorrow. We'll see. Normally, theoretically and statistically speaking, if a move continues in today until tomorrow. But again, options expirations are tomorrow, so if you have really deep out of the money options, I think you might just be trading sideways and churning them out. So if you got a little bit of profit, that for my case, what I would do is probably take it. Again, statistically speaking, again, you're really just holding them overnight, which I don't like to hold short-term stuff overnight. Possibly rumor of Texas locking down tomorrow. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I really want to see what happens on Netflix as well. Thoughts on LHA? I don't have LHA. Hey, what's up, Anthony? Thoughts on is it AEPR? So is this like a real estate trust here? This looks like it's like, is this a commercial or is it more of a real estate holding, like a corporate, what do they call that? Commercial real estate rather than like retail real estate. This looks interesting. It's just kind of just trading sideways still for me with earnings on the horizon. The 5 and 8 are below the 21. The parabolic SAR, which is these little purple dots here, are still above it, holding that downward pressure on it. What up, Brian? Showing that purple love. Thanks, man. With parabolic SAR still showing that downward pressure, it really needs to get moving here and closing above that 21, so around $33. The momentum over here is looking okay. RSI and volume zone oscillator have not waken up yet to really push us higher. I'm not sure exactly what they own. They rock at AMC, Top Golfs, and ski lodges. Okay, so basically we really need to have that vaccine pushed out and really get up and moving. Oh, top goals, or is it top goals or top golf? I thought I read top golf. I don't know what a top gold is. I think you meant top golf. Unless there's top goals or something I don't know, and I need to get into it. Yeah, with this one, it really needs to kind of just get above that $33 level and kind of start moving higher. It looks like it got way ahead of itself previously. Again, that was a lot to do to the airlines and cruise lines really just driving it higher to see what happens. But now it's kind of consolidating really tightly here. There is no squeeze indicating here, but I think a squeeze could be ensued soon for a potential pop. Let me look here on a weekly side for you. I kind of want to do a fib here. It looks like they cut dividend as well, right? So the previous high to low here on the fib announcements, yeah, it's really going to need to break above that $38 level here. Sorry, 38 percentile move at $38.61 to really get up and moving here and to get really on my radar. The parabolic SAR to the downside support's coming in around $21. Thanks for the love, man. Let's see here. Netflix. Let's see if I can get filled on this sucker. I'm trying to sell. What am I selling here? I'm selling the 460 put. I'm trying to get that filled for earnings play. That's what I'm going to be doing. Hoping for AMC to go bankrupt. Why? You had a problem with AMC or something? TikTok? Okay, that's good. That's good. Let's have enough liquidity for that for 60 months. So that's, what is that, like 5 years, 4 years? What is that? 60 months. Do some math here. 5 years. Okay, I was right. It's interesting. You're more the dividend guy, Malone. I'm not really a dividend guy. I'm more in hyper growth in the sense. I think it would be great dividend investment if again, giving yourself 60 months. I think the vaccine and everything will come out and things will change without a doubt. Let's see here. Space. Yeah, space. I have not looked at that today. What is that doing today? Holy moly, guacamole. This is what we're talking about. Here's some growth here. At space here, we have some longer dated options here that basically, how far is that? It's like leaps. It's like 300, 400 days out. For the $25 call, we paid like a couple $100 for. Really strong here. It's still not really. It needs to close above that 21.11 to really get that momentum going and really see us push here. We do have that squeeze really that fired long and giving us that momentum. But with volume coming in, which is really strong here, I think this could have a nice little run up to earnings, potentially to 25, or it can kind of stall here and potentially just trade sideways into earnings. I'm a little slightly concerned about it, but again, since my options are so far out, I'm just giving it a little bit more time, and really would be interesting to see what they do for the next coming earnings. Let's see here. It would be horrible for the movie. I think the movie industry has slightly changed, and you're going to see a lot more movies released on strictly like an Amazon movie release, or basically everyone just having some kind of streaming box at home now due to the overall pandemic. Amazon will hit 4K end of year. Sure, I don't know. What is the likelihood of that? It's hard to give you a number to it, but we can kind of look at the best number I can give you is what the market makers are saying. So we're going to look at the very last. Okay, so they don't have what? Wait, am I seeing this right? I don't see December options for. That's weird. I don't see December options for Amazon. Did Bezos buy them all up? Did Bezos buy all the options for December? That's weird. Maybe that's just I know other companies have had the December options. That's really weird. Maybe they haven't got them. Am I blind? It's November and then Jan. So what I was going to do was going to look at those options and give you a better what the overall plus or minus was. So what we're currently trading at is basically 3,000. They're saying plus or minus 700, lack of better words, for November. That would put us at 7,300 to the high end, what the options market makers are saying. But with December again being the holiday season and basically the Santa run, the Santa bull run, what they normally call it, we could see that ensue. I would just gonna give it another $200 multiple. You're really hitting for the high end, 400 for Amazon to be end of the year. What the market makers are saying, unless, because again, we're not gonna have too many more quarters into that, so be very mindful of that. That's super strange, though. So my Tasty accounts have Amazon. Yeah, I guess they haven't printed them, made them yet. They have to get them. They have to get them FedExed. What just happened to? Holy moly, guacamole! My Netflix just froze on my screen here. Okay. Let's see how Netflix is doing here. They normally don't report until like 4:30, so we're gonna have a little bit of a discussion. Might take a quick little break here. Let's see here. Okay, it really wants to pop here, guys. We'll see again. This is again super risky going into earnings. Let's see, dude. See what else is doing. Amazon's kind of coming off. I think a lot of people are just a little hesitant to see what good old Netflix are going to come out with. We'll see. What is the weirdest stock you've ever witnessed? I don't know by weirdest. You mean like the weirdest company or the weirdest stuff that I've seen on the charts? Like the weirdest... I don't know. I've probably traded some weird names. My brother bought around 50 Netflix. Sweating for Netflix. We'll see. I hope you guys are not risking too much here, because again, you shouldn't be sweating too much if you're not risking, unless you're really just doing a YOLO bet. Just nice, easy profits on the way up. Company? Ugh, I don't know. I was gonna say if the weirdest stock I saw was gonna be the Tilray. That's the one that comes to my mind. Did I spell that right? No. What is Tilray? Ticker. It's the T-R-L, T-R-Y, T. I think it's T-O. What is Tilray stock? Tilray. Let's look this one up. T-L-R-Y. Okay. T-L-R-Y. This is the weirdest one I've seen on my own. And I've seen other strange ones. The other weirdest ones was, if you remember Martin Shkreli, I was trading his company before I even knew he was in it. And I forgot the ticker symbol. That's so weird. It literally went from like $8 to $45 overnight, and I had like 100 shares of it, almost 100 shares. And then Tilray is one where I just kind of watched from the sidelines, and I was just in awe, where it literally went from, again, couple bucks up to $300 and change, and then continue trading down. Yeah, that wheat stock was without a doubt crazy. 10K in Amazon 25 years ago, 20 million today. Kelly D, I know. Kelly, I used to own Amazon at 180, and it's a pretty substantial portion. Not 10K, I think it was maybe 1K, but yeah, a little over like $1,500. Unfortunately, no, I know. Do I trade futures contracts? Not really much. So people ask if I day trade. If I day trade, it's usually I'll just sell some. I'll buy futures. Normally, just trade the minis for just the major contracts like the Dow, the RUT, and then the Nasdaq and S&P 500. Oh, let's see here. I am not gonna get to be able to sell this Netflix put here. Netflix is kind of coming down a little bit, so again, this is nothing to mean that the quarter is going to be terrible or something like that. Again, like we talked about, the last 5 or 10 minutes is going to be pretty high capitulations and just craziness going on here, with the sense of just continuous selling, people trying to get to a certain price. I believe Netflix earnings really doesn't get announced until after 4:15, 4:20, so we'll see what happens there. I'm looking to add another growth stock long term to my M1 pie. You would one for another high-end growth stock, and I would say Tesla, but I don't. That's gonna be too highly priced now. I like Tesla, Nvidia. I like QCOM, or ticker QCOM, for like the 5G networks. We have some of that stuff in that. What else we have? We have Logitech for long term. We have Beyond Meat for long term. I think any of those would be fantastic long term without a doubt. Nvidia it's been super strong though. It's been a really large catalyst. Another really heavy growth stock that I can never. I was trying to trade this sucker and get in here on the last pullback from the beginning of this week was ServiceNow. I literally wanted to buy here at 400, but it just literally got away from me. It happened so fast, I wasn't able to get into it. And because this thing has been a very strong grower here, and I think this is going to be a very long-term upward movement for ServiceNow. Hello, what do you think about day trading options on stocks? I know a lot of people who do very well with it. The only thing is you have to be super disciplined on what you're trading and how you're trading it and cutting losses fast. And normally trading options on day trades, you really need to be higher in the money options or at the money or near the money options to really get that delta to actually make a lot of profit. TikTok China, Disney, yes, I am long Disney. That's another long, I want to call it a growth stock, but it's a stock that we own for a long term. Again, we talked about this the other day with our Wall Street Bets video on, yeah, I'm not going to get filled. The bell's about to ring in 5 seconds. And my stock just, what is this froze? Did everything just freeze here? Let's see if I can get filled here. Give it to me, Papa. We have how many seconds left? 30. 20 seconds left of the trading. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get filled. Oh, I got filled. Oh, no, okay, I think I got filled. Okay. We haven't done net big. We can do net. Nice. The Tesla's great. You're very welcome, Anthony. Thanks for coming in. There's the bell. Ding, ding, dong, dong. So Disney, we talked about that here again with the Wall Street bets, saying that they're going straight puts because of the overall exponential growth in cases in Florida. I kind of slightly mocked the meme in the sense of like, people are still going to go to Disney. I think long-term Disney is going to be fantastic and have that 5 and 8 really across the 21. But I really highlighted, and I think I came off a little bit too negative, that the 200-day exponential moving average is really going to be some overhead ceiling of resistance here, and it really is kind of coming into play here, potentially seeing this trade sideways. If some great economic data comes out, we could see this kind of potentially push higher. But again, we talked about that these options activity normally will look for potentially just trading sideways into this monthly expiration. Big, let's do net. So net, sadly, it's kind of falling out of favor. It's not crazy doing bad or just completely just going to the downside. It's slightly consolidating around the 21. So between the 34 and 21, I like this longer term. Net is one of our positions as well. Kind of trading in this range, you kind of see I have a break. If it starts breaking 33.29, I need to consider of cutting it, some of it. But we'll see how it moves. That so you said Netflix is going down. Let's see, is any news out? Okay, sales. Yes, like we talked about, like again, this is exactly why this is complete coin flip. So we have to kind of wait to see on what they say of the CEO comes out and says. So this is why I'm talking about, this is going to bounce around like crazy. So please don't start going crazy. We need to start seeing other things come out to fruition. Other things start playing out. We can kind of look at this at a 5-minute chart. Yes, it kind of took a huge dump here. Down to 450. Again, 450 has nothing to do with anything. This could potentially just trade sideways. We need to see on how the earnings plays out with once the CEO and the overall board speaks. This is what we're talking about with earnings. Of course, everyone thought that everything's going to go with flying colors, go higher, but once these earnings hit, it's literally a computer data that's scanning for certain things to see on what happens. And we'll see what happens. Like, they literally scan for certain keywords, and those keywords look for certain phrases, they look for certain line items, and they literally just dump that into their algorithm. And this is going to bounce around for some time until tomorrow morning. You're really going to see the real price around 11 o'clock tomorrow late morning. So that's going to be once people start digesting it, you're really going to start seeing where that can trade from there. This is again why we sold those puts. So it gave us plenty of time. The puts we sold the 460, 465, I think. So we're going to be okay. We're just going to slightly collect that premium. We don't want it to continue going down to 450, of course. We kind of want it to consolidate, but this is why if you went, the folks who maybe on Wall Street bets or things like that bought like a $600 call, yeah, it was like $2, but those $2 are completely gone now. You can't even trade a markets that would be open 15 minutes later. Yeah, SPY options are only open between the hours of 9:30 and 4, so they close at 4, but they really don't close until like 4:15 to really get the full fledged prices. So we can go ahead and look on like the daily side of the chart. I don't like to buy things TikTok China during the after hours trading because it's kind of like a wild west. You can kind of see this just jumping up and down very rapidly, not performing very well, and just being completely irrational. Again, we kind of have to wait to see on what their overall the executives talk. It's not. I had Netflix at 100. I had Netflix at $89, $90 as well, Anthony. Like it was, it's a beauty. Like I bought it. Did you buy it before the split or after the split? I bought it. I had one or two before the split, and then I bought substantially more after the split. Why did Netflix do this? That should be a meme right there. Why did Netflix do this? I have no idea why. We'll have to tune in to see. We can start reading some of this data here, but I normally don't like to go through this because this is what we talk about, where the Wall Street analyst and the executive team have to be on the same place, and they can just kind of go pitter-patter back and forth and start nitpicking things and saying, why are these expenditures so high here? Why are the growth in India not as high as you said, and whatever. Yeah. Again, it's going to be trading pretty crazily here, on and off. So we'll see. Again, yeah, they could make less revenue. The fundamental analysis of this is overall fine. So they have a total of about 195.5 million paid monthly subscribers memberships. So that's pretty substantial. They're the biggest group, I believe, who have the most. So Disney has, I think they said like 50 million. Anthony, don't talk about me at AMD at $2. I traded AMD for all that same time period from 2 to 4, and then I sold it again at 5, went 5 to 8, sold it, 8 to 12, sold it, and if I just held it like an imbecile, I could have made a lot more money, but I was trying to be cute with it. Okay, so Andrew has some highlights here. Q2 EPS $1.57 missed by 181 estimate. Sales were the best estimated. Okay, it's nothing like too crazy. Again, this is why earnings is a complete crapshoot. What stock is that? NC what? I don't know if is that a penny stock? NCINO. I don't see that. NCINO. It's not coming up. Was that traded in the UX exchanges? It could bring down the overall market, but I think it's just going to be temporarily. We can kind of gauge on this. On how the SPY's doing, like the SPY, that white box is really wiping things out. We're gonna get rid of this box here. Okay, so that it could again in the short term it can easily get rid of the. So let's go look at Netflix again. So it's basically again we'll see they normally have the conference call. What time they have the conference call here? Probably 5. Probably like 5:30. They normally have it, but yeah, it can easily bring down the other tech sections just due to the fact of like, hey, We thought they're going to make more due to more people spending time in the house. Why are they not watching more Netflix? What I always have said is I don't know on top of my head what are like the go-to shows right now on Netflix. Like I think everyone's all over Tiger King. I'm not sure. I think people were just literally just tuning in for Office still. But we'll see. Like I don't want to be too negative on it, but that looking out for the overall potential of like when will Netflix recover? I don't know that. But we can go look here on the daily chart. So it's trading. So it went down all the way down to like 450, I believe. So that's basically where the 50-day simple moving average just falls into. So this is again, that's the key level for some value investors there. The really key value for value investors is the 200-day. But since it took a lot of damage here, we could see a potential fairly large, it's going to be a large gap down if this overall gap will not be filled. Again, we're looking at like 470 now, so that's kind of the way up here. We can draw that. So at or below, they kind of give us some reference points. So we're currently basically in around this range here. Potentially that's going to be where the 34 comes in. Of course, these 5 and 8 moving averages are really going to cut through the 21, and of course the RSI is going to kind of fall down. Same with the momentum and the volume oscillator as well. Going to be really negative tomorrow, and really see what we could potentially can happen here. Some key levels again. We start looking at the longer time frame here. We go from the previous swing high to low. I bet you 450 is going to line up. So that's kind of, I think it can trade potentially tomorrow if the earnings guys or the CEO Reed Hastings and things like that and companies say good things. I think 475 would be a great price if it opened up tomorrow and kind of held that and closed above that tomorrow. Again, that's from the previous high to low. That's the 1272 extension there. Basically, downward support is going to be around 450 on the daily side. On the weekly side, it's going to start breaking below that 475. That next downward pressure is going to come in around 430. Buy the dip. It's hard for me to tell you to buy the dip on this one because normally Netflix after earnings is kind of really just continues going down. So we've kind of seen this before, where it did a lackluster quarter and then traded down substantially, and then never really recovered and just continued trading down. This happened here as well. Continued trading down. Kind of happened here. Continued trading down. So I think that this could insinuate some potential more downward pressure. TikTok, that's kind of a good thing to kind of wait to see on where it trades the next coming days. Again, you don't want to buy a completely falling knife. That can be very dangerous, and you can get cut and you can lose a lot of money. Logan, you lost 6K trading BA. Ugh, I hate to hear that. Why? Like, were you trading stocks, shares? What you're doing? With BA, I think it's going to be just a kind of a slow grinder here. Like, it's nothing going to be too outperforming here. It's really just kind of grinding up this little white hill here that we kind of created, making this like it's like a semi truck that's on snow tires and just kind of slowly grinding back up here, trying to hold this trend line that we make-believely drew here to kind of see if it can continue to break to get above that 193 level. Why wait for the numbers? Bad for Netflix. Wait for the numbers. I'm more or less waiting for what the CEO says. Sometimes you're just looking at straight numbers that could be more positive things coming from it, in the sense of looking at the potential, like, hey, we actually are announcing a collaboration with XYZ company and we're doing this, and that could really just change the mindset. And maybe you have their CFO come in and talk about why the numbers are looking like this and what happened, if there was some legal expenses coming out, all kinds of things. That's why earnings is really a crapshoot, and that's really, I don't like to buy into a lot of things like that. What are your thoughts on PGC? Oh. I don't know what this company does, but it looks really choppy. With earnings on the horizon, it looks like it wants to potentially kind of curl and go higher, but it looks just super choppy here with earnings on the horizon. It looks like could just be a kind of a crapshoot for me. It looks somewhat negative, well below its 200-day, kind of just trading sideways, so nothing really to say there. I'm sorry, my friend. Yeah, very much see-through. It's very much like the last earnings call the last summer. I think you have to remember, like, I don't think a lot of people you think were at home, but a lot of people were at the beach. The whole videos and pictures I saw. So, oh, it's a power production company. Yeah, I think it's just two trading sideways for me, my friend. They just had bankruptcy clear. Oh, that's great. That's good for them. I'm happy for that. Makeshift player, it hurts me looking at it. Yeah. DraftKings, GLMN, save me. If you day trade with margin and out with stocks, how does interest work on it? So normally, if you're using margin, depending on what your broker is, there's certain fees associated on how much margin you're using, and if it's at a certain rate and for how long. Is Netflix going to sell off because of Microsoft? I think in the short term, but again, it has nothing to do with it. It's in the same cohort of Netflix of being like a tech company, but they're not anywhere near the same industry. In the long run, in the short term, yes, I think Netflix could drag down the market just slightly and kind of give a negative sentiment, but I think people are gonna just kind of forget about it in the next day or two, and Netflix could continue dragging lower into the next week as well. With Microsoft, we're really looking for it hold that 203 level. It is trading a little bit below that as of right now after hours, but with the earnings run, kind of just holding this 21 here for a potential nice pop for earnings as well. So Logan, you need to check your broker on how they do the margin understanding. I'm not 100% sure. So if I would, I normally never really traded on margin, so I didn't have to classify for that. I normally just I traded in a margin account, but I never used the margin to lever up on things. JT, have you touched on this? Because do you believe Netflix earnings could provide strong guidance regarding much of what's ICI? I don't know what ICI. Is it IXIC? Don't know what that is. It could. I don't know what the company does. If it's also a streaming service, it probably could give it some guidance. But again, each company is somewhat separate, and we'll just have to see on how it plays out. Okay, I guess Makeshift helped you with that there, Logan. Thank you, Makeshift Player. Guys, hopefully this was a fun, educational little wrap up here. We'll see on how Netflix goes forth in the next coming hours of keeping a little eye on it. We'll see how it trades tomorrow. And again, for trading tomorrow, kind of some key takeaways before I let you guys all go. Again, hit that 450 level, kind of bouncing around, looking for that potential. Let's go back to the daily. It's definitely going to break through the 21, so it's already broken through the 21. If Reed Hastings Company say great things on the conference call tonight, this could easily come roaring back. I think the 450 level is not the. I can't tell you if it's low or not. Again, we have to wait for them to talk. But as of right now, it looks like the overall market is somewhat digesting it right now and kind of holding around the 474 to 470 level and kind of just trading sideways. Probably waiting on to see what Reed Hastings and Company says. For tomorrow, we have to see on how it's trading around 9 to 9:15. It could be a large dump into the market because, again, a lot of those folks who had those longer dated calls are really going to try to get out of it and potentially could see some really steep selling in the first 15 to 20 minutes and really get a really slap in the face for the first 15 minutes into Netflix the morning session and really get slapped around and really see some really aggressive movements. Thank you, Makeshift, $5. I appreciate it, man. Paying the plug. Thank you as well. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for always showing up and with a great attitude. I really do appreciate it. Again, that goes for everyone as well. Thank you so much for coming out. I hope that, again, you guys learned something. I know this was some disappointing for some folks on Netflix earnings. We do have a lot of earnings coming out next week, and the one that really comes off the top of my mind is going to be, of course, Tesla on the 22nd. So we need to make some kind of party arrangements for that to kind of get that party going, because that's going to be one heck of an earnings for sure. And maybe we can actually even live stream the earnings call itself. I don't know. We'll place it. I'll do some polls and figure out what people want to do for Tesla, since I'm kind of a pretty large Tesla bull. So I don't think Netflix confirmed yet what they're doing. I mean, for Amazon, they're saying the 23rd. So Thursday, who knows? Thank you, guys. Thank you for everyone for showing up again. We'll figure out what we want to do for the next couple live streams. The next live stream is probably going to happen on Sunday, the traditional Stock Talk Live Market Sundays. Hope to see you guys out there. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Again, guys, take it easy, stay safe, Godspeed. Peace.